You do not lose your peace all at once. It slips away little by little through small details that often go unnoticed. When you react to a provocation, get trapped in a worry, replay a conversation that has already ended. And what is most surprising is that we almost never notice when it happens. We think we are simply thinking about the problem, when in reality, we have already handed it control of our attention. Little by little, what was once just an event turns into a state of mind. And without realizing it, you begin carrying within yourself a weight that the moment should have already taken away. Before you know it, you are at war within yourself, reacting to everything with no control at all. But there is a way to turn this around, to quiet the chaos without running from it, to face any situation with clarity, steadiness, and presence. In this video, I'm going to share 10 Stoic attitudes that protect your inner peace, simple, quiet attitudes, yet powerful enough to transform your mind into a safe place. And it all begins with a choice, so write in the comments, "Today, I choose calm. I am Stoic." Because when your awareness awakens, even the things that once disturbed you become far too insignificant to shake you. Master your own mind, and the world will stop ruling you. Attitude 1. Before reacting, breathe. You already have what you need to keep from being controlled by chaos. And the proof of that lies in a gesture so simple that most people overlook it. Picture the scene. You're stuck in traffic. The clock is pressing down on you. Your phone keeps buzzing non-stop, and everything around you seems built to test your patience. Your mind woke up already racing, trying to solve things that haven't even started. And then, like a test from the universe, a car cuts you off without mercy and even honks at you, as if you were the one to blame. In that moment, everything inside you cries out for a reaction. Anger rises like a dry wildfire, and the urge is obvious to fire back and to show that you won't be disrespected. But that is exactly where the difference begins between someone who lives as a hostage to the world and someone who has learned to protect themselves from within. As Epictetus once said, it is not things that disturb us, but the judgments we make about them. The scene itself is neutral. What changes is the lens you look through. You can take it as a personal attack and react like a walking battlefield, or you can do what few people have the courage to do: stop. Breathing before reacting is not a sign of weakness. It is an act of quiet resistance. It is as if, by drawing in a deep breath, you raised an invisible shield between yourself and the chaos, as if to say, "In here, I am the one in charge." That pause is a choice, and choices change destinies. Breathing changes the rhythm of the heart, changes the tone of the voice, changes the course of the conversation. Breathing is not just oxygen, it is emotional intelligence in its purest form. In the seconds you spend breathing, you gain time, and time is power. Time to think, to put things in perspective, to choose, and it is in that gap that freedom lives, the freedom not to become like the thing that hurt you. The next time you feel your blood start to boil, make a deal with yourself. Before any word, any gesture, or any decision, breathe in, hold, and breathe out. Let the air flow through where the anger wants to settle, because emotional maturity begins exactly there, in the invisible space between the trigger and the response. The Stoic House channel is built on ancient wisdom and modern hearts. Your heart is part of that. Before we move on to the next lesson, leave a like, share this video, and subscribe. Attitude 2. Observe but don't absorb. Have you ever caught yourself replaying a sentence someone said to you hours ago? It wasn't a direct attack, maybe it wasn't even intentional, but there was something in the tone, between the lines, that stayed with you. And even after the conversation ended, the words stayed there, like a nagging echo hammering inside your head. You tried to go on with your day normally, but your mind kept going back to that moment, imagining what you should have said, how you could have defended yourself, or simply trying to understand why it hurt so much. And without realizing it, you let an outside comment become an inner noise. That's what happens when we stop observing and start absorbing. When we don't treat a provocation as what it is, something external, and we let it settle inside us, as if it had the right to make itself at home, as if the voice of someone who barely knows you could say something definitive about who you are. But it doesn't, and it never had that right. Epictetus already warned us, if someone tries to hurt you, it is your own judgment that creates the wound. It's not what they say that hurts, it's what you believe about what was said. The offense doesn't come in on its own, you are the one who carries it inside, and it only finds room where there is already a doubt about yourself. Someone else's words don't create the wound, they press on what was already tender. Your mind should be like a well-kept house, clean, protected, quiet inside. You wouldn't let a stranger walk in with dirty shoes, nor would you allow someone to shout in the middle of your living room. So why allow words filled with contempt, sarcasm, or judgment to walk freely through your thoughts? Why treat as a guest what should have stayed outside? Emotional maturity lives in the ability to listen without getting contaminated, to look at an aggressive attitude and understand that it speaks far more about the other person's confusion than about you, to keep your center intact even when everything seems to be trying to throw you off balance. This isn't distance, it's clarity. Knowing who you are so well that other people's opinions don't need to confirm or destroy anything. The next time someone throws an empty criticism at you, a biting joke or an insensitive comment, picture it as an object thrown against a wall. It can hit, it can make noise, but it only gets through if the wall is cracked. And that's why you should strengthen your inner boundary, so you don't let what comes from outside change who you are inside. You can listen to everything and absorb only what serves you. You can observe without carrying. You can notice without reacting. And when you do this, you'll notice that the silence of non-reaction is often more powerful than any response, because a response signals that you've been hit. Silence signals that you can't be. Attitude 3, stay out of pointless arguments. Some arguments do not begin because people have different ideas. They begin because someone's ego felt threatened. Sometimes all it takes is a poorly chosen word, a sideways glance, or even a silence that is taken as an insult. Within seconds, what was just a misunderstanding turns into a battle, and before you know it, you are in the middle of a war you do not even know how it started. That is how we waste energy on things that are not worth it, on arguments that teach us nothing, that transform us into nothing, and that, in the end, leave us with nothing but exhaustion and frustration. Because in the heat of the moment, nobody is listening, nobody wants to understand, they only want to win. But win what? As Marcus Aurelius said, avoid pointless disputes. They lead the soul away from its path. And he knew exactly what he was talking about. Because when you step into a useless argument, even if you get the last word, you lose something invisible. You lose time, you lose peace, and you lose focus. And sometimes you even lose respect for yourself. It is easy to get carried away, to answer the provocation, to play the game, and to feel the need to be right. But that only proves that you are still being controlled by your impulses. What is truly difficult is stepping back, looking at the situation, taking a breath and asking yourself, if I win this argument, what do I actually gain? Most of the time, the answer is nothing. There is no trophy waiting at the end of the conflict, only wear and tear. So what can you do? You can choose silence, not as an escape but as protection, not as weakness but as self-mastery. Refusing the invitation to chaos is an act of inner strength. It is telling yourself that your time, your energy, your peace are not for sale, that you do not need to prove anything to anyone, that your growth is worth more than one more argument, and that some battles are won precisely when you refuse to fight them. You are not here to win arguments. You are here to gain clarity, to grow, and to move beyond them. The next time someone tries to pull you into a pointless confrontation, remember this. Choosing silence is not cowardice. Cowardice is losing yourself just to feed your pride. Attitude 4. Change the thought, not the problem. Sometimes what destroys you is not what happened, it is what you thought it meant. You went through a criticism, a cold comment, an attitude that caught you off guard. And in the very next moment, your mind created a story. Not just about what happened, but about your worth, your abilities, your place in the world. That criticism became a verdict, that sentence became a portrait, and that moment became a distorted reflection of who you believe you are. That is how human beings operate when they live on autopilot. They do not respond to facts, they respond to the stories they create about those facts. Seneca warned about this long ago. He said that suffering comes more from the judgments we create than from the situations we experience. And this is one of the mind's greatest traps. It invents, exaggerates, and dramatizes. And without realizing it, you begin carrying a weight that does not come from the world, but from your interpretation of it. The Stoics practiced the exact opposite. They did not look for comfort in motivational phrases, but for clarity through difficult questions. When something affected them, they did not ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, they asked, "How can I grow from this? Does this really say something about me, or does it reveal more about the other person? What am I accepting as true without examining it?" That shift in questions is what allows you to rewrite your thinking. You do not erase what happened, but you change the place inside yourself where it will live. And that shift is liberating. You stop sabotaging yourself with automatic thoughts and begin acting with discernment. Instead of reinforcing the wound, you turn the impact into fuel. Instead of freezing because of criticism, you begin to see it as an opportunity to become even stronger within. Rewriting your thoughts is not about denying pain, but about taking away its power to control you. It is like looking at a storm and saying, "I cannot control the rain, but I can choose where to build shelter." And that shelter is built through conscious choices, through new ways of interpreting what happens, through the habit of not accepting your first thought as the final truth. Now here is the practice. Every time something affects you, write down what happened, and right below it, write 3 alternative versions of the same event, one more neutral, one more optimistic, and one more strategic. Observe how your mind responds to this. Practice it daily, and you will begin to realize that the mind is flexible. It reshapes itself over time, as long as you are willing to become the author of your thoughts, instead of merely being their spectator. Because in the end, it is not the world that needs to change for you to find peace. It is the meaning you give to what the world places before you. And that meaning has always been in your hands. Attitude 5. Don't expect others to act the way you would. One of the quietest causes of human frustration is expecting other people to have the same heart you do, to think like you, to act like you, to give back in the same measure as what you give. You give of yourself with integrity, you offer support, you act with loyalty, and deep down, even if you never admit it, you expect that same devotion to come back to you. But many times it doesn't. You show respect and receive disrespect. You are kind and receive coldness. You are transparent and receive silence. And then the bitter cycle begins. The mind tries to understand, justify, make sense of it. But the only thing that grows is the feeling of unfairness. Am I the problem? You ask yourself, but you are not. The problem is the expectation you created that the other person would act the way you would. Marcus Aurelius said, "Expect people to act according to their nature, not according to your wishes." And that changes everything, because as long as you keep expecting someone else to treat you with the same awareness you carry within yourself, you will keep getting hurt. People do not act based on what you deserve, but on what they know, what they have learned, what they carry inside. And that includes traumas, limitations, fears, and wounds that you cannot see. Accepting this reality is not giving up on people. It is freeing yourself from the need to be understood by those who still do not know how to understand. It is realizing that everyone gives what they can from their current level of awareness. And expecting maturity from someone who is still living on autopilot is like expecting a seed to behave like a tree. It will not happen, and you will be disappointed every time you expect it to. So instead of expecting perfect reciprocity, act from conviction. Keep being loyal, fair, clear, not because someone deserves it, but because it reflects who you are. You do not do the right thing to control other people. You do the right thing to remain whole, and that is an act of inner strength, not naivety. But do not confuse this with accepting everything. This is about setting boundaries. It is about learning to adjust what you offer based on what the other person is emotionally capable of receiving. It's about stopping the exhausting effort of trying to change someone who does not want to change yet, and above all, protecting your energy from the frustration that comes from a simple mistake, expecting sweet fruit from someone who has not yet grown roots. Now here is the practice. When someone disappoints you, instead of letting it eat away at you or blaming yourself, write down what you were expecting, and next to it write, "That was my expectation, not their obligation." This aligns your perspective with reality. It gives you back the power to keep being who you are, without becoming emotionally exhausted trying to understand what is beyond your control. Because true peace is not found in making others act the way you want them to. It is found in learning to remain steady even when they cannot, and continuing to stay whole even when no one recognizes it. Attitude 6. Master your body to master your mind. Most people try to calm their minds with arguments, but forget that the mind listens to the body first. When anger arrives, it does not come with a warning. It creeps in like heat rising up your spine, a knot in your stomach, tension in your jaw. The body sounds the alarm before the thought even takes shape, and if you are not paying attention, you will already be reacting by the time you realize it. Epictetus taught that the first step towards self-control is mastering what other people can see, your body, your expression, your tone of voice, and only then mastering what no one can see, your thoughts. And that makes sense, because the body is the emotion's first messenger. When you physically close yourself off, speed up your breathing, tense your shoulders, you send a clear message to your brain, we are in danger, even when you are not. And that simple message distorts everything, your perception, your words, your decisions. That is why every Stoic learned to start with the body. So, before you speak, breathe. Before you react, relax your shoulders. Before you make a decision, notice the state you are in. Because many times, it is not the situation putting pressure on you, it is your body already operating in defense mode, even when there is no threat. Mastering your body does not mean pretending to be calm. It means gradually building the physiology of serenity. It is when everything pushes you to raise your voice, but you lower it. When everything inside you wants to charge forward, but you take a step back, that is when you turn the tide. And this is not just about self-control, it is about emotional leadership. If you do not lead your own body, your instincts will lead you. And in that state, you will always react like a captive, not like someone making a choice. True power belongs to the person who notices their own tension and chooses to act despite it. The one who feels the heat of anger rising but refuses the invitation to explode. Want a real practice? Choose a moment during the day when you usually get irritated. It could be traffic, an email that has not been answered, a tense meeting, and before you act, do this. Breathe slowly for 3 seconds and gently move your neck. It sounds small, but that gesture sends a new command to the brain. we are in control. And that, repeated over time, trains your mind to respond with clarity, even in the middle of chaos. Because the body is the first thing to be affected, and it can also be the first thing to save you. Whoever learns to listen to its signals gains time, and whoever gains time gains power. The power to stop being dragged around by their own reactions. Attitude 7. Distance yourself from what throws you off balance. There are places where the soul learns to shrink. You walk in smiling, but little by little you grow silent. Not because you lack courage, but because there is too much tension. Sometimes it is not even something obvious. No one attacks you, no one pushes you away, but something inside you feels it. I can't breathe here. And even so, you stay, because you think it is just a phase. Because you were taught to endure, and you believe that with time, everything will work itself out. But what actually adjusts is your limit. You begin to think it is normal to live in a constant state of alertness, to feel like you are always walking on eggshells. You think it is normal to feel drained and pretend everything is fine. But Epictetus said, if something weakens your soul, move away from it. Do not negotiate with what destabilizes you. Do not get used to emotional discomfort as if it were simply part of the deal. Imagine your mind as a glass filled with clear water. Every toxic environment, every manipulative presence, every relationship that demands too much from you drops a little dark ink into it. At first, the water still looks clear, but day after day you become clouded without realizing it. Until one day, you look at yourself and no longer recognize who you are. That is why stepping away is necessary, not as a punishment, but as a form of purification. It is not about running from problems, but about stopping the habit of poisoning yourself with things that will never change. You can continue being kind without continuing to be available for everything. You can remain true to your values, even while removing yourself from what is slowly wearing you down. Here is the practice. Identify one cycle that exhausts you. A repetitive conversation, a forced obligation, a group where you constantly silence yourself, and create a clear boundary. It could be a one-day break, it could be spending less time there, or it could be silence. Observe what happens inside you during that space. If relief arrives, it is a sign that you never needed that weight in the first place. Because there are places where your presence does not flourish, it only survives. And surviving all the time is not a virtue, it is self-abandonment. Maturity is knowing when to stay and when to leave. Attitude 8. Practice Stoic empathy every day. There is a kind of wisdom that does not shout, it simply observes and responds differently. It is what the Stoics called seeing beyond the surface. Imagine that every person who crosses your path is carrying a backpack on their shoulders. You cannot see what is inside, but they feel the weight of it. Some are carrying anger, others are carrying fear, and some have not even realized what they are carrying yet. And without knowing any of that, you end up being hit by the overflow. Maybe it is a customer service representative who acts coldly, a co-worker who answers sharply, a family member who speaks as if everything were your fault. Instinct tells you to react, but wisdom tells you to look again. Is this person really talking to me? Or are they speaking to a world that hurt them long before I arrived? Stoic empathy is not about putting yourself in someone else's shoes. It is about realizing that the other person may not even know where they are standing. It is about understanding that it is not personal, it is historical. And more than that, you can choose not to amplify that cycle. Marcus Aurelius practiced this even with his political enemies. Before judging someone, he would reflect, if I had lived the same life he lived, thought the same thoughts, suffered the same hardships, would I really act any differently? That reflection, repeated with sincerity, does not transform other people, but it transforms the way you see them. And that changes everything, because when you stop expecting consistency from people who are living in inner conflict, you stop being disappointed. When you realize it is not about you, you free yourself from the attack. And when you refuse to play the victim, you become the author of your response. Here is a Stoic practice for the next few days. Choose a difficult person. It could be someone close to you, someone at work, someone who always seems irritated or distant. Instead of creating stories about them such as, "They don't like me," "They're arrogant," try doing the opposite. Write down 3 possible invisible reasons for their behavior, not to justify it, but to soften the harshness of your judgment. You will notice something interesting. When the mind makes room for understanding, the body responds with lightness. The irritation fades, the tone changes, the friction disappears, and the conflict that seemed inevitable never even begins. That is Stoic empathy, recognizing the weight without carrying it, seeing another person's pain without turning it into your own, deciding that your emotional state does not depend on the people who pass through your life, but on the one who remains, you. Attitude 9. Cut the excess, live the essential. There are days when you reach the end of the day exhausted, but you do not even know why. You look back, and you cannot point to anything truly important that you accomplished. Just quick responses, interruptions, urgent tasks that seemed urgent, but now do not even make sense anymore. It is as if your energy has been hijacked by small things, and deep down, it has. Seneca said, "Happiness is found in focusing on what matters, but the world pushes you in the opposite direction. It fills your life with distractions, provocations, false urgencies. And if you do not choose what will occupy your attention, someone else will choose for you." You react to a passive-aggressive message, respond to criticism that was not even worth the effort, get upset with someone who cuts in line, get pulled into arguments that change nothing, and in the end, you are mentally drained by things that should not have lasted more than 5 seconds. This is what the Stoics called death by 1,000 invisible cuts. You do not fall because of one major blow, but because of small daily leaks of focus. The solution: live with discernment and choose what deserves your time the same way you would choose what to plant in fertile soil. Because every thought you feed, every emotion you cultivate is a seed, and everything you water grows. Here is today's Stoic exercise. The next time something bothers you, before reacting, ask yourself 2 simple questions. Will this matter 5 days from now? Will this matter 5 years from now? If the answer is no, do not keep feeding it. Do not spend energy where there is no return. Do not offer your attention as if it were limitless. You need to understand something. What is essential does not shout. It does not demand attention. It does not dramatize. It does not create confusion. The essential is quiet. It is what remains when the noise fades away. And only those who learn to protect what is essential can live lightly in a heavy world. Because true strength is not getting distracted, it is walking through life with inner clarity, even when everything around you tries to confuse you. Attitude 10. Train emotional detachment. There is a subtle illusion that keeps us trapped. The belief that, with enough effort, we can make everything work out. We can save relationships, fix misunderstandings, change people's behavior, convince someone who still cannot see the truth, prevent losses. But behind that pursuit lies an uncomfortable truth. The more we try to control what does not belong to us, the further we move away from our own peace of mind. Emotional detachment is not coldness, it is wisdom. It is when you realize that some connections survive only through one-sided effort. Some expectations will never be fulfilled. Some conversations repeat themselves like endless cycles. You try, insist, step back, try again, and deep down, you feel yourself becoming depleted. Not because of the other person's absence, but because you keep staying in something that has already lost its meaning. The Stoics did not recommend apathy, they recommended realism. Seneca said that a large part of human suffering comes from resisting reality. When you accept what is, when you stop romanticizing the potential of someone who has already shown you their limits, something inside you begins to reorganize itself. You stop fighting against the current and start swimming in the direction of your own integrity. It is not a loud breakup. It is a quiet decision. Not to expect more from those who cannot give more. Not to demand presence from those who have already left emotionally. Not to keep forcing bonds that survive only out of habit. True detachment is not indifference. It is respect for yourself, for the passing of time, for the peace you have a responsibility to protect. Practicing emotional detachment means refusing to play the role of a hostage. It is when you decide that your stability will no longer depend on someone's mood, attention, or absence. It is when you silence the need to be right, to be understood, to justify every step you take. And in its place, you put something far more valuable: self-care. Today, perhaps this is exactly what you need to do. Do not break ties. Do not argue. Do not explain yourself. Simply let go. Let go of control. Let go of expectations. Let go of the cycle. Say to yourself, this does not define me. This is not mine to carry. This will no longer dictate the pace of my life. Because in the end, your peace begins at the exact point where you stop trying to control what is not within your control. Today, you didn't just watch a video. You stepped into the Stoic house. And everyone who walks through its doors carries a piece of it into their life. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.